there are no problems. Let's see. But as I am getting ready and setting up, come on in. Come on in. Please share with friends, share with family, share with whoever might be interested. Go on and share. Let me just make sure my audio is good. And it is good, so that's good. All right, so let's get going. Hey everybody, hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is staying cool because it is certainly hot. Not as hot as it could be and as it has been, but it is hot nonetheless. I just wanted to come on. I have not been on live in a little bit on YouTube, so I wanted to come on and say hello. And really, I wanted to talk about the basics of real estate. I think last time I came on for a live, I was talking about repairs walkthrough that I went on. So let me give a quick recap, just let you know what's going on in my real estate world. I went on a repairs walkthrough actually again. So I went on one, I did a live on YouTube talking about how I was on my way to a repairs walkthrough. And so I'm circling back to talk about that and give an update. So still waiting on that client to close, which will hopefully be tomorrow. We did another follow-up repairs walkthrough. Why? Because some things weren't still completed, but it looks like the selling side has taken care of what they needed to for repairs, to be able to get the UNO or use and occupancy. If you did not know, just a tidbit, in a lot of the counties, Delaware County in particular, which I service, the Philadelphia and surrounding suburbs, and Delaware County is one of those surrounding suburbs. And they require that in order for you to get your use and occupancy, that you had to do an inspection. The the municipality will. So with Philadelphia, you can just go online, and pretty much you can download it that way. Hello, how are you? Thanks for coming. And you can download it that way. But for Philly and everything, hello, thanks guys for coming in. For Philly, you can just go on the website, but for other places, you have to get an inspector to come. I'm just talking about some basics in real estate, guys. Thank you for joining me. Please share, please like, please subscribe. And so I'm talking about this walkthrough that I had to go on and this buyer client that I had for a property in Delaware County. And so this property is very interesting because some things came back for that inspection, unfortunately. Thank you so much, Ikaya. I hope I'm saying that right. And so some things came back where the UNO would not be able to be issued. And so the selling side was like, uh-oh, we're having a wrench in the process. And so we got to figure this out. That kind of worked out well for me and my buyer client because, things good. It worked out well for us because guess what? We had a couple of hiccups on my buyer side as far as this grant that they are getting. Hello, Mila. Is that Mila? Hi, Mila. And so it worked out well for us in the end. However, now they have what they need. They were able to get the UNO. They passed the inspection. They made all the necessary repairs. And so now we are waiting to hopefully close. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. Please like, share, subscribe. And so that's just giving you an update. I'm talking about a previous live that I did a couple of weeks ago and just giving you an update on that particular client and that particular house. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, prayer hands, we'll be closing tomorrow afternoon on that property because it's been a long one and definitely longer than I intended for that property, for that transaction. So moving on, I wanted to talk about just some real estate basics. a lot of times, of course, I get new people who are following my content, new people who are on the first time home buyer journey or even investor journey. And so I always like to go back to the basics because unfortunately we still do not have enough or a lot of education for some people groups on how do I get a house. It just seems so far away. It feels so far away. It feels for many people who don't know about home ownership or owning property. It just feels like idealistic, but it doesn't feel like it's a tangible thing that can be done. And so I want to just talk about the basics. Of course, what do you need? What do you need to do to get started on buying a home? Well, you want to definitely start with having some savings, right? And I'm going to go a little bit into how much. I always say you need to save depending on what house. Now, you don't necessarily know the price point of your house until you speak with a lender, right? A lot of times people will like to go to their bank or their credit union, which is fine. I always suggest finding, it's just like when you go to the doctor, you have your primary, but then you also have a specialist, right? And so finding an actual lender who is a mortgage broker and that's all they do is mortgages is the better thing, the better option to do, because they are going to be committed to getting you to that finish line. They're not salaried. They get paid like me per closing, per transaction. And so their investment in making sure they get you there and their availability is way higher because like me, the deal's not a deal until it closes. Bye. I go, okay, thank you so much. Have to go. All right. Thank you, Akaya. And so I always say to people that you definitely want to make sure you find out, the numbers. You want to make sure you talk to a lender to know. Now, you may not know a lender. You're like, I don't know where to find that person. Well, of course, which should you do first? Get a realtor or get a lender? It really just depends on who you know. It depends on your contacts. I would say that it is easier to find a realtor because guess what? You go on Redfin, you go on Zillow, you go on realtor.com. And if you click any of those houses that you're interested in, if you go to an open house, there is a realtor for you. Now, if you follow realtors like me, now, of course, choose me first. Choose me first. And then a realtor will refer you to somebody. But you might run into a mortgage lender first, which is absolutely fine, and get you started on getting pre-approved. How do you get pre-approved? You need to have 2 years of work history and or work history can, if you just came out of school. So let's say, hey, I've been working in my job for 6 months, but I had immediately gotten this job after I graduated my program or college or whatever. That's perfectly fine. That school history counts as work history as long as there is no like extended gap in between the two. So you need that 2 years of work history. You need that credit score for FHA. You need 580 is minimum. Now, understand with most lenders, with most programs, even if they accept you at 580 credit score, 9 times out of 10, of course, your interest rate is going to be higher. And of course, your down payment may not be the 3.5% for FHA. It could be 10%. It could be 5%, depending on the lender, depending on the program. So I always say it's better to be at 620 and up, so then you don't have to worry about that, and you have a bit more option because even that minimum is still putting you in that means that your credit score has to stay at 620 and cannot move a point. So of course, the higher the credit score, the better. The higher your credit score, the better. So I always say at least try to get to that 620 mark. Now, for a lot of grant programs, not lender credits, okay? Lender credits, but for a lot of grant program, your credit score, like for the PHFA K-Fit grant program, has to be at 660 and higher. All right, 660 and higher. And so these are just things that you want to know to get you started. How much savings do you need? I always say you want to have 10% of the sale price or purchase price of the home. So if you're looking at homes for 300,000, just know that you're going to need at least 30,000. Also know that if you don't have $30,000 for that $300,000 house, that is okay, right? Why? Because you can get seller's credit. That is where the seller gives you money towards your down payment and closing costs, which can be written into the deal. You can also get a grant if you qualify, right? So these are definitely things to consider. So I would say, in order to have money to play with, quote unquote, you definitely need at least $5,000 to $10,000, depending on your price point. If you're on these lower ends, now if you're on higher ends, of course, the higher the price point, the higher your savings needs to be, right? And typically, higher price points, 9 times out of 10, it's probably your second home, or maybe you've gotten some money towards relocating, so you have that lump sum of money, or you're established enough where you can borrow against your 401k or something like that to be able to get that down payment and closing costs, because you may not qualify for a grant because you make too much money or something like that, right? Or, maybe because you're getting your second house, you can use the equity from your first house or from the sale of your first house. So these are all things to consider, okay? So those are the basic things that you need. You need that 10% worth of savings. You need that credit score to be where it needs to be. You definitely, the higher the credit score, the better. The more savings you have, the better. But don't think that disqualifies you if you don't have all your savings together. I always say, talk to somebody, have the conversation so you can have an informed plan. So I tell people who feel like they're not ready, still have the conversation with me, still book the consultation, because at least I'm giving you the education that you need for your specific situation so that you can align your goals accordingly, right? Even if your credit score is not where it needs to be, talk with the lender, because a lot of times lenders will partner with people who can help you with your credit to get it specifically ready for you to buy a house. All right. So don't, create your team now, create your village, your support system now, so that you can be able to have a pointed, strategic system, goals in place to be able to get where you want to be. All right. So those are just some of the things to help you get started. If you want to talk more with me in regards to it, of course, go to book.djmrealtyco.com. Again, book.djmrealtyco.com, and schedule yourself. Even if it's I have what's on there, a general powwow. You can schedule that. You can schedule a buyer consultation. You can schedule a seller consultation, because there are definitely some things, and maybe I'll do that on my next live. How to prepare to sell your house. That'll be the next one. My next live, how to prepare to sell your house. But that is for you buyers that are out there. Those are some things that you need to do. Again, whether you're first time home buyer or third time home buyer, and you may have to leverage your property, whether you're selling it, whether it's just getting a HELOC out, right? Home equity loan line or home equity line of credit, to be able to afford to buy your next property. These are definitely things that you can consider doing to get yourself started into your next home, to your dream home, to your forever home. All right. I hope that is helpful to you guys. And listen, make sure to share, like, follow, subscribe. Follow me on my other platforms too, at djmrealty. Across, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on all of them, Instagram, the TikTok, I'm on all the other things as well. But I hope that was helpful to you all. Send this to somebody who would be interested, who've been saying, I really want to, but I'm not sure, or I don't know what to do. Send them this video. Hope that's helpful. What else I got going on? I got some other stuff going on. You'll see it, because I'm going to promote it. I'm going to post it. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Enjoy the rest of your day.